Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss one more concept from human reproduction, part 4. The next concept is oogenesis. Oogenesis is defined as the process of formation of ova or egg is called oogenesis. Oogenesis begins early in the embryonic stages when the fetus is about 25 weeks old. That means about 6th month of pregnancy. Gamete mother cells called oogonia are formed within each fetal ovary. So here the fetus is defined as from 3rd month of pregnancy the embryo is called fetus. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth of a baby girl. A baby girl is born with a set number of primary oocytes already in prophase 1 of the meiotic division in the ovary. The further development of primary oocyte remains suspended till sexual maturity. So let's observe the representation of this oogenesis. So the oogonium, this part or this cell is called as oogonium. It is in diploid condition and it consists 46 chromosomes. And this oogonium undergo multiplication through a mitosis division and it increases their number. So this increased number of these oogonial cells, they increase their size and converts into the primary oocyte. So it is also a diploid condition having 46 chromosomes. This primary oocyte undergo meiosis division, that nothing but reductional division. And this reductional division does not complete. It is suspended at diakinesis stage under prophase 1 and the further development will continue after sexual maturity. The stages during oogenesis. The stages during oogenesis are multiplication phase, growth phase, and meiotic or maturation phase. Multiplication phase. In the fetal development, certain cells in the germinal epithelium of the ovary of the fetus are larger than others. Germinal epithelial cells divide by mitosis, producing a couple of million egg mother cells called oogonia in each ovary of the fetus. The oogonia multiply by mitotic divisions, forming the primary oocytes. So let's follow the representation given here. So fetal development of certain cells in the germinal epithelium of ovary. So Germinal epithelium. It is the cell, epithelial cells lining the inner wall of the ovary. So the oogonia, it is formed by mitotic divisions of germinal epithelial cells. Germinal epithelial cells epithelial cells undergo mitosis to produce this oogonia or egg mother cells. How many are produced in a ovary? So a couple of million oogonia. Couple is nothing but 2. 2 million. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs or 2 million egg mother cells are produced in the ovary of fetus. So fetus is nothing but from third month of pregnancy embryo is called fetus. Now this oogonia undergo mitotic division to produce primary oocyte. So up to this, the cells are in 46, that is diploid condition. Growth phase. Only some of the oogonia increase in size and undergo a growth phase to form the primary oocytes. Primary oocytes are diploid in nature. Each primary oocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells to form primary follicles. Granulosa cells are also called follicular cells. A large number of primary follicles degenerate during the period from birth to sexual maturity. At sexual maturity, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. Let's follow the representation given here. So oogonial cells which are formed from germinal epithelial cells by mitotic division. These oogonial cells increase their size and to form as a primary oocyte. These primary oocytes consists 46 chromosomes and they are in diploid condition, 2n condition. And after formation of these primary oocytes during growth phase, the primary oocytes are surrounded by a granulosa cells. This granulosa cells is also called as follicular cells or granulosa cells. Granulosa cells, and the primary oocyte along with these follicular cells or granulosa cells are called as primary follicles. So a large number of primary follicles are degenerate during period from birth to sexual maturity. This condition is called as a follicular atresia. Now, at sexual maturity, how many number of these primary follicles are left in each ovary? So already in previous slide we discussed that there are 20 lakhs or maybe 2 million 2 million primary follicles are formed. Among these 20 lakhs or maybe 2 million primary follicles, only 60 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary at sexual maturity. Maturation phase. The primary oocyte undergoes the first meiotic division to form two unequal haploid cells. They are a large secondary oocyte and a small first polar body or polocyte. In the second meiotic division, the secondary oocyte divides to form a large oocyte or ovum and a small polar body. The first polar body also undergoes the division simultaneously to form two small polar bodies. As a result of all these divisions, a primary oocyte gives rise to one ovum and a total of three polar bodies. In human, the first polar body does not undergo meiosis. Let's observe the given representation. So up to here, the primary oocyte we are discussed in the previous growth phase. So now the primary oocyte surrounded by the granulosa cells, and then it is considered as the primary follicles. So at sexual maturity, there are 60 to 80,000 of primary follicles are present. And already we discussed one more point here. Before maturity itself, the primary oocyte inside the primary follicle undergo first meiosis division and it is suspended at prophase 1. Now, at sexual maturity, at sexual maturity, the primary oocyte already it is suspended at prophase 1 stage in the meiosis 1. So at prophase 1, before sexual maturity itself, it is suspended at prophase 1 division during meiosis 1. So now after sexual maturity, it completes its remaining stages of the meiosis 1 and it produces it produces a small polar body, first polar body and large secondary oocyte. So now primary oocyte undergo meiosis. It is unequal division. As a result, it produces two unequal cells. One is large, that is secondary oocyte, and another one is the polar body. So we are saying that it is a meiosis 1 division. Primary oocyte undergo meiosis 1. The meiosis 1 is the reductional division. As a result, the 46 chromosomes present in the primary oocyte become or reduced half. That means become 23 chromosomes in the secondary oocyte. That means it produces the haploid secondary oocyte. And this secondary oocyte undergo meiosis 2 division. Meiosis 2. This meiosis 2 is also called as equational division. Equational division, and it forms the a large oocyte or maybe ovum, and forms a small second polar body. When this secondary oocyte undergo meiosis 2 division, simultaneously the first polar body undergo mitotic division to form two polar bodies. In human, the polar bodies formed during first meiosis as well as during second meiosis does not undergo meiosis 2 division. The first polar body, it undergo mitosis, it does not undergo meiosis 2 division, and secondary polar body is the result of second meiosis of the secondary oocyte. This polar body, secondary polar body, is also not undergo meiosis 2 division. In human beings, ovum is released from the ovary in the secondary oocyte stage. The maturation of secondary oocyte is completed in the oviduct or fallopian tube, usually after the sperm has entered the secondary oocyte for fertilization. Entry of the sperm restarts the cell cycle, breaking down MPF, metaphase promoting factor, and turning on the APC, anaphase promoting factor. Completion of meiosis 2 converts the secondary oocyte into an ovum which fuses with the sperm to form zygote or fertilized egg. Hormonal control of oogenesis. Various hormones play an important role in the control of oogenesis in females. Hypothalamus releases the gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates anterior pituitary gland to release its hormone. Anterior pituitary produces two hormones. One, luteinizing hormone or interstitial cell stimulating hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone acts on the developing ovarian follicles in the ovary and stimulates the maturation of primary, secondary and Graafian follicles. Let's see the given representation here. So now hypothalamus, it is a part of brain, and this hypothalamus produces two types of hormones, that is, one is releasing hormones, and inhibiting hormones. Now hypothalamus, here it releases the a hormone called as GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. These releasing hormones are helpful to stimulate, to activate the target tissues. So the gonadotropin releasing hormone activate or stimulates the anterior pituitary gland. So in first PUC, you may studied that the hormones produced by pituitary glands. So anterior pituitary gland produces ACTH, TSH, prolactin, growth hormone, FSH, LH hormones. And this anterior pituitary gland, due to stimulation by this gonadotropin releasing hormones, it produces two hormones, that is follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. In males, this luteinizing hormone is also called as ICSH, intestinal cells stimulating hormone. So now this gonadotropin hormones, follicle stimulating hormone, acts on developing ovarian follicles. Just now we are discussed primary follicles. So that is ovarian follicles, and stimulate the maturation of primary, secondary and Graafian follicles. So simply we can say that the follicle stimulating hormone helpful for maturation of follicles. Maturation of follicles in the ovary. The follicles produce the hormone estrogen. Luteinizing hormone acts on corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum secretes both estrogen and progesterone. Estrogens are a group of steroid hormones that are responsible for the development of secondary sexual characters in females. Progesterone is also a steroid hormone and acts on the uterus. High level of estrogen inhibits the release of gonadotropin releasing hormone, providing a negative feedback control of hormones. High level of progesterone also inhibits the release of gonadotropin releasing hormone. So let's observe the representation given here. So already we are discussed here the follicular stimulating hormone, which is produced by the anterior pituitary by the action of gonadotropin releasing hormone. This follicle stimulating hormone acts on ovarian follicles, or simply we can say it helpful for maturation of ovarian follicles. The matured ovarian follicles produces the estrogen hormone, and the anterior pituitary is also releases the luteinizing hormone. This luteinizing hormone acts on corpus luteum. So what is that corpus luteum? So during ovulation, the ovarian follicle is ruptured and ovum is released. That process is called as ovulation. Releasing of ovum from ruptured ovarian follicle is called ovulation. So after releasing ovum, the ruptured ovarian follicles converts into yellow colored bodies called corpus luteum. So this LH acts on that corpus luteum and make them to produce progesterone hormone. Now let's see the functions of these hormones. The estrogen is a steroid hormone, and it is responsible for the secondary sexual characters. The secondary sexual characters are already we are discussed during the female reproductive organs, that is growing of pubic hair, and development of mammary glands, and growth of fallopian tubules, uterus, all comes under the secondary sexual characters. These two are secondary sexual characters, and it is also helpful for the growth of growth of uterus, uterus and growth of fallopian tubes, or the controlled by estrogen. And also the estrogen is helpful for development of secondary sexual characters, that is growing of pubic hair and growing of mammary glands is also secondary. The two are the secondary sexual characters. Now progesterone, which is produced by the corpus luteum, it is also a steroid hormone, and this progesterone is also called as a pregnancy hormone. It is also called as pregnancy hormone because it is produced during pregnancy, and it is helpful for embryo implantation, which is occurred in the inner wall of the uterus. So it is helpful for embryo implantation. Embryo implantation. Now here they are show the negative feedback effect. When estrogen secretion is increases, it shows the negative feedback. It inhibits the excess production of estrogen as well as progesterone. Both are inhibits the hypothalamus. That means inhibits the production of gonadotropin releasing hormone when the estrogen and progesterone levels are increases. They inhibit the production of gonadotropin releasing hormone. Inhibits is nothing but to restrict. When the GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, is inhibited and it does not stimulate the anterior pituitary gland. As a result, the production of FSH and LH will be stopped. Development of ova in ovary. In the ovary, the primary germ cells divide mitotically to form oogonia. Some of the cells grow longer and form the primary oocytes. A primary oocyte surrounded by a layer of follicle cells or granulosa cells is called primary follicle. The follicle cells are protective and nutritive in function. As the primary oocyte grows further, the follicles or granulosa cells increase in number. Now let's observe the given diagram here. Now we are already studied during oogenesis. Primary germ cells or egg mother cells divide mitotically to form oogonia. This oogonia increase their size to form primary oocyte. And this primary oocyte surrounded by follicle cells is called primary follicle. Let's see in the diagram. So this part is the primary follicle. So what is a primary follicle? A primary oocyte surrounded by a layer of follicle cells called primary follicle. These follicle cells protect the primary oocyte and provides the nutrient to the primary oocyte. As this primary oocyte is increase its size, simultaneously the follicle cells number is also increases. The primary follicles get surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells and new theca, and follicular fluid accumulates in small cavities in between the cells. This structure is called secondary follicle. The secondary follicle soon transforms into tertiary follicle. As the tertiary follicle cells grows further, the small cavities merge together and one large fluid-filled cavity called antrum gets formed, and the matured follicle is called Graafian follicle. The primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle grows and undergoes first meiotic division, forming a large secondary oocyte and a tiny first polar body. So let's observe the diagram here. So already the primary follicle we discussed. The primary follicle is defined as a primary oocyte surrounded by the granulosa cells is called primary follicle. and this primary oocyte when it grows, the primary follicle number is also increases. So as the primary follicle gets surrounded by the more number of granulosa cells, and a new theca is also called layer. Theca is also called layer, and follicular fluid accumulates in the small cavity. See in this, in secondary follicle, in this diagram, when the follicular cells are increases, the follicular cells are increases, a small fluid accumulating cavities is also present between the follicular cells. This structure is called as the secondary follicles. So what is the difference between the primary and secondary follicle? A layer of cells surrounded the primary oocyte in primary follicle. In secondary follicle, primary oocyte is surrounded by the many layers of granulosa cells or follicular cells. Between that cells, a fluid filled cavities is also present between that follicular cells. Now, soon this secondary follicle is transforms into tertiary follicles. Tertiary follicle. Now, in these tertiary follicles, when it is grown, the cavities present between the follicular cells are merged together to form a large cavity, fluid filled cavity, that is called as antrum. So what is meant by antrum? Fluid filled cavity in tertiary follicle is called as antrum. And this tertiary follicle matured and it formed as a Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle. So now primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle undergo first meiosis division, forming a large secondary oocyte and tiny first polar body. So we are already discussed this one. Primary oocyte undergo the first meiosis. It is uneven division or unequal division. It forms a large secondary oocyte and a small first polar body is formed, and primary oocyte is in diploid condition. After this first meiotic division, the secondary oocyte is a haploid. It consists only 23 chromosomes. The structure of Graafian follicle. The matured follicle is called Graafian follicle. The Graafian is a scientist who observed that matured follicle in the ovary. It is about 1 centimeter in diameter and protrude on the surface of the ovary. The theca or layer gets organized into an inner theca called interna and outer theca called externa. So let's observe this diagram. So this diagram represents the matured follicle called Graafian follicle. So this diameter of this follicle is 1 centimeter and it consists or organized with the two layers of cells. Two layers. The outer layer of cell is called as theca, is nothing but layer, that is called as the externa, and the inner theca or maybe layer is called as interna. So externa and interna are the organized layers around the Graafian follicle. The following structures can be seen in Graafian follicle. Antrum. It is the A fluid filled cavity is called as antrum. So this region, this cavity is called as antrum. And next structure, that is liquor follicule. Liquor folliculi. That means the fluid present in the antrum. Cavity is called as antrum. The liquid present inside this antrum or fluid present inside the antrum is called as liquor folliculi. And the third structure, that is cumulus oophorus. The secondary oocyte of Graafian follicle. The secondary oocyte. Already we said that primary oocyte undergo meiosis, first meiosis division to form a large secondary oocyte and a smaller first polar body. So the secondary oocyte of Graafian follicle is suspended into the fluid filled cavity called antrum by a stalk of cells called as cumulus oophorus. So now suspended means pushed towards the cavity, and these are the stalk of cells. These are the stalk of cells which suspended this secondary oocyte into the antrum. So these cells, the stalk of cells which suspended the secondary oocyte into the antrum is called as cumulus oophorus. This cumulus oophorus is also formed by follicular cells or maybe granulosa cells. The next structure in Graafian follicle, that is zona pellucida. It is a thick area that surrounds the secondary oocytes. So to come to the diagram, it is the a secondary oocyte, and this secondary oocyte, it is surrounded by a thick layer area. This region is called as zona pellucida. This thick area, it is made up of or composed with glycoproteins, and these glycoproteins are synthesized. This zona pellucida is synthesized by both the follicles as well as secondary oocyte. And another structure, corona radiata. The layers of elongated granulosa cells outside zona pellucida and surround the secondary oocyte at the time of ovulation is called corona radiata. So at the time of ovulation, the secondary oocyte, this inside it is the secondary oocyte, it is zona pellucida. Around this zona pellucida, there is a elongated cells. There is a elongated cells surrounds around the secondary oocyte. Elongated cells surround the secondary oocyte. These cells are called as corona radiata, and this is zona pellucida, and inside this is secondary oocyte. So at the time of ovulation, releasing of the ovum, the secondary oocyte, it is surrounded by a corona radiata cells, elongated granulosa cells outside the zona pellucida. That cells are called as corona radiata. Ovulation. Release of ovum from ruptured Graafian follicle is called ovulation. After ovulation, the granulosa cells of ruptured follicles changes to form another structure called corpus luteum. It is appears yellow in color. Corpus luteum releases the hormone called progesterone. It helpful for maintaining uterus during pregnancy. Thank you, students. We will discuss one more concept in the next part.